Hey guys, welcome to a eyeshadow palette video. I had done a matte eyeshadow palette video that I'll link below. So here, I don't think I've included any matte palettes just because those are my favorite matte palettes. So I didn't want to like go overboard and talk about the same palettes. Also, I just filmed a favorite face palettes video. If it's uploaded, I will definitely link it below so you can see them. The goal is to have them both uploaded at the same time, but we shall see, we shall see. So I'm gonna start off with my newest purchases. If you've watched my vlogs, you've probably seen a lot of these palettes. These are the Nubian palettes from Juvia's Place. If you follow Angela Mary Tanner on Instagram, she does great swatches of all kinds of more independent brands and often will compare them to more maybe mainstream brands. So she was doing swatches of this. She has been doing swatches of these palettes for such a long time. I just never pick them up because I'm just not someone that is susceptible to that kind of like in your face, in your face, in your face, in your face, and then you finally buy it. Sometimes I am, but very often not. But I've just been so into warm tone palettes lately, I think as all of us have been, and this one is stunning. If you are like, oh, I think the Anastasia palette's too expensive, the Modern Renaissance, which I'll definitely show you. If you think that's too expensive, actually just let me show it to you now. Here's the two palettes next to each other. If you can do without maybe that fuchsia, I would say you might actually like the Nubian palette more. But I mean, they're both warm tones, so I'm just saying they're both gorgeous. I wouldn't want to give up either of these palettes. I'm gonna do some swatches, just like with the matte palette video. I'm not gonna swatch everything, but I want to swatch some of the shades for you guys because pretty. So that's just a sample of some of the colors in there. Definitely for warm toned people, or for people who like warm tones, that's what I mean. Just because you're cool tone doesn't mean you can't wear warm tones. Excellent. They don't have a funky scent. You know how sometimes these like more cheapy shadows have like a funky scent? Nope, these are fantastic. And the boxes they come in are exactly the same as what's on like the palette. So I feel like some extra effort was gone into, wow, is that even proper grammar? Has gone into creating the packaging. This one is the Nubian 2. It is slightly larger than this. Also, the shadows are larger. This is mainly what I have on my eyes today. I have this shade all over the lid. Then I went over it with this one. I don't know the names right now, but actually, should I share the names with you? This shade is called Sheba, and this shade is called Jezebel. This orangey shade is called Morocco, and that's what I also kind of have blended into my crease and on my lower lash line. Do you see the pigmentation? Isn't it beautiful? And then lastly, to create depth, I use Layla. These are all the shades I have on my eyes today with MAC Soft Brown in the crease to just blend everything out. Love. Right. Because I really love this palette, I'm gonna do some more swatches because this is the palette I would recommend getting if you want a warm toned palette, but you also want something with gem tones, like rich jewel colors. The green is in the shade Egypt. The blue is called Cleopatra. This yellow, crazy, like intense shade is called Nefertiti. And then Y-A-A is this like coppery orange gold shade. Beautiful, right? Highly, highly recommend. Currently, these are on sale. I think the Nubian 2 is around 30 and then the Nubian 1 is 23. You can use the code DUPETHAT. That's the code that I use to get it. And I guess Angela Mary Tanner probably has her own code too. I'll link both of their Instagrams down below. And I think there was a duo. You can get both of them as a bundle for 50 bucks and then you have to pay shipping. But if you buy the bundle, you can't use a coupon code. So I was like, no. So I put them in my cart separately as separate items and then I applied the code and it works and then you still pay shipping, so it's actually cheaper to buy them separately. I know that seems like counterintuitive if you're really into sales, but that's how it worked out. If you watch the vlogs, you know I love this palette. This is the Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia. Everyone loves this palette because it's just so dirty. Not so dirty, like it's dirty because I'm getting my fingerprints on it. But I guess I could do without any of the velvety packaging on any kind of products, but I love this palette. The Antique Bronze in here, which is like one of the few shimmery shades in here. So pretty, so beautiful on hazel green blue eyes. Okay, I also really like the very bright matte shades in here. There's 4. So we have Red Ochre, Venetian Red, Love Letter, and Real Gar. So those are there. Aren't they beautiful? These all over the lid, all over the lower lash line. Like, clearly that's the kind of look I like. Like I showed you, I have the Nubian 2 palette pretty much all over my lid. Love. This is Tempera, which is the kind of matte, I guess, brow bone highlight. Love this. It applies and looks so beautiful. And then there's 2 kind of transition shades, or 3 that are warm that I really like. Raw Sienna, Burnt Orange, and Golden Ochre. There is one called Buon Fresco. I don't use that as much because I don't use cool tones in the crease that often, but these are the more warmer shades that are in there. So the yellow one is Golden Ochre, this one is Burnt Orange, and this one is Raw Sienna. Next up, you guys seen this, it's from Milani. It's the Earthy Elements. It is my absolute favorite from all of the palettes that they've released. And it's just, like I said, if you wanted the Too Faced Peanut Butter palette, which I'm going to show you guys, it's in this video because I really like that palette. If you missed out on that, definitely you can pick this up if you don't need those purple tones in your life. So you have a very shimmery, kind of all over shade you can use it for if you wanted to top it off with some of the matte shades. But I find that one a little grainy. And then you have 2 matte shades that are stunning, that look perfect, that feel super high end and blend out, not too much powder kick up. And then you have 3 more shimmery shades. This was probably also in my eyeshadow palettes under $20 or $25 video too. So those are the 2 mattes that are excellent. I mix these 2 together often to create like a really pretty crease shade, like an in-between of the 2. That's like that really shimmery shade you can use maybe as your brow bone highlight, but I probably just wouldn't because it's too shimmery. And there's like a very light shimmery shade here, and then these 2, oh my god, this shade all over the lid if you have green eyes, and on the lower lash line, oh my god, so beautiful. And this is like a more brown golden-y version of that. I love this whole palette. It is hands down one of my favorite drugstore palettes. Next palette I want to share with you is limited. It's from YSL. It's the Scandal palette. It's one of the couture palettes, and I've mentioned this before. Just YSL palettes are so hit or miss, but this one is awesome. I mean, first of all, the packaging, beautiful. It's probably like faux leather with like a cloth YSL. And then these are the shades. Beautiful, beautiful colors. I shared this with you guys in a vlog, and I did swatches. But I'll do swatches again because not everyone watches the vlogs. Actually, I feel like at this point, more of you guys are watching the vlogs than my beauty videos. Like, I really think that. I mean, are you guys more interested in what I do as like a human being than you care about what I think about beauty? I found that really interesting. Like, I feel like my views, like you guys care way more about watching my vlogs over beauty videos. Which is fine. I'm happy that you watch regardless, but let me know also. I mean, obviously comment on all the palettes in this video, but let me know why you like the vlogs more, because I'll probably ask in a vlog too, because it's easier that way. But those are the shades. And I know I don't wear color that often, but these are colors that I love wearing. I didn't do a very good swatch of the blue, and I've actually been just wiping my hand after so many swatches, so these aren't showing up as beautiful as they should. Maybe I'll do like a swatch on my finger. There we go. Isn't that prettier? There I feel like I did the blue justice. Anyway, gorgeous, gorgeous shades. I love them. This is the inner corner. So pretty. A couple palettes from Illamasqua. Ooh, that's not cute. This is the Compliment palette. This one has a cream in it, but I still really like it. Illamasqua makes really great shadows. So this cream is like a brown, but it has like iridescence to it. It's so gorgeous. I love using it as a base even when I'm not using this specific palette. So this one is more like a lot of purpley tones. And what I really like about Illamasqua palettes is that you can do a complete look with it. You know what I mean? Like, you can use the base, you can use the dark as a liner or all over the lid, you can use the matte as a transition shade. Like, Illamasqua palettes are really well thought out in that way, and I love the way they perform on the lid. They're excellent. You can find Illamasqua on Outlook pretty often. Not pretty often, but enough where you can get like a discount, because I find like Illamasqua is quite expensive, but their packaging is always so cool. Like, I love it. This one is probably a palette a lot of people will like. It's called the Neutral palette, and you have the most basic perfect shades in here. You have a black, a brown, a bronze, and a lid shade, or like an eyebrow highlight. Do you see how perfect this palette is? You can create just the day to night looks. So perfect. You have a black liner, you have a transition shade, you have an all over lid color, it's just, you know what, it's the most perfect palette ever. Next up is the Too Faced Peanut Butter Palette. I know this was limited edition and it sold out pretty quickly, but I recently just saw it up on Ulta's website, so maybe they're just gonna bring it back. It's just such a great palette. So those are the shades. Let me pull up the Milani palette so you can see what I mean when I say, like, if you don't want the purple shades or you don't care for the purple shades, you can totally just get the Milani one and be pretty happy with your selection of colors. You know, it's like close, but not, I would say the peanut butter palette is way more warm, but that also makes this one more wearable. So again, I'm just gonna swatch my favorite warm shades in here. So there's like a smattering of colors. And then the purple got a lot of complaints because, like, oh, it's not pigmented, or why is it in there? This shade, you throw it into your crease a little bit after you've done your whole eye look with this palette. Gorgeous. It accentuates it beautifully. You could easily do an all purple look too, which I think is pretty awesome because, you know, you can just maybe use peanut butter as your crease shade, jelly all over the lid, and then jammin as your liner. Gorgeous. And then these colors I don't use as often. This is called Rich and Creamy. Very pretty. You can I mean, it seems this palette appears to be very limiting, but you can do so much with it. So this is Sultry Muse. When you look at the colors, they just look so whatever in the pan. You know, you're like, okay. But all of them perform with such dimension. See, there's like a really beautiful, like purpley brown. Everything leans in a different way than what you would think after you swatch it. Like, there's that color right there. You think it's gonna look like this? No. You have this shade up here that looks quite like just like a really light bronze, but it has really beautiful dimension. Or like this shade, you're like, oh, it's gonna be very orange. It's really beautiful. Everything has dimension. Like, what you think it looks like, or you think it's gonna like not wow you, it will be stunning. The shade is this one right here. And then this is just like a super beautiful dark shadow that you can do the most beautiful smoky eye with, because it has like some dimension to it, like, you know what I'm saying? So I love V's Art. It's like I almost want to be like, it's hands down my favorite eyeshadow brand. Because if you were to tell me to get rid of all of my shadows, I could probably do a pretty good job of just using V's Art. You know, if they continue to keep bringing out, ooh, they put previews out of a new palette that they're coming out with. I can't wait, cannot wait. Also, if you want to find V's Art on sale, Camera Ready Cosmetics does decent promotions where it's 40% off. Also, Friends Beauty also does really good promotions on V's Art palettes because these are $80 a pop. Last but not least, Morphe Palettes. If you watch the vlogs, I know I say that in all these videos, but a lot of times, like, I talk about makeup in my vlogs a lot. And there was a point in time when I was just using Morphe palettes like constantly because they're so good. I'm gonna share with you the newest one that I really love. It's the 35F. Gorgeous. Like my kind of shades. You have some browns, some reds. This one is pretty much all metallic and shimmer. Here, these first 4 columns, and then this down here is all your kind of matte shades that you can use for transition. Do you see that? And it has this dark shade that you can use to add dimension, which I love that they did that. It was very smart on their part, because I always pull a black. I have a black single shadow kind of on my vanity at all times to add dimension. So, oh my god, I don't even know what colors to share with you. So, like, so gorgeous. I don't even know which shades to swatch. They're all so beautiful. I mean, sometimes people are like, oh, buy these kind of palettes for like people who are just starting out in makeup. Whatever. I'm not starting out. I love these palettes. I mean, look at that pigmentation. Crazy. So beautiful. I would say overall, their shimmers and metallics are excellent. Their matte shadows are not as pigmented, and they're not as, like, they have a little powder kick up. But you really can't complain about that because they still end up looking really beautiful on the eye. And for the price, they're always around $22.99-ish. And there's always a coupon code. Granted, to buy off the Morphe website, you need to have $100 to get free shipping, I think. 100, is it 75 or 100? I feel like it's 100, which is quite a high free shipping threshold. So sometimes you can find Morphe palettes on overstock.com. So I would definitely check out there. And they're sometimes cheaper there too. So you don't even need a discount code. This is one I don't reach for as much, but I'm not going to get rid of it. This is the 35P and it has a ton of purples and really great matte transition shades. So love this. If you love purples, go for this one. But also you have to keep in mind that there's maybe like a handful of shimmery shadows and they're all darker. So this is kind of just like an extra palette you can get to like round out to get free shipping or something, because it's still very great and usable. But here's the thing, I don't want to say I don't reach for it often, because whenever I use a Morphe palette, I always lay out like 3 at once and I just play and go to town, you know what I mean? You can't talk about Morphe palettes without talking about the 35O. This is kind of what did it for Morphe. It's just all warm tones. It's a combination of mattes and shimmers. And this was the first Morphe palette I got. And I know that when I got it, I was using it non-stop. I would say there's more matte shades over shimmers, but it's still a really, really great palette. So with the success of those two, they came out with a 35OM, which is all matte, and then the 35OS, which is all shimmer. Now, I got these as a bundle, and I used a code for it, but I would say if you wanted to just buy one of these, buy the shimmer palette, because I'm sure you already have something in your collection, like your favorite matte transition shade that you can use. So this one over here is the matte and this one is the shimmer. They're obviously very similar in tone, but I would just say go for the shimmer. I'm actually gonna link Tati's video, Glam Life Guru. She did a video where she swatched every single color in the shimmer palette. And when you watch her swatch, you'll just be like, I get it. Like, buy the shimmer one and then just, you know, if you want to just pick one, get the shimmer one. Like, I feel like it's such an awesome feeling when you just have these all laid out and you're doing your makeup. Like, you feel a makeup artisty, but just for yourself. This is the 35T. This is also a really great neutral palette for people who are more like want neutral colors. I mean, this is really great. So 35T I think might stand for taupe, but you have a decent amount of warm shades and a decent amount of cool shades. You can create a lot of different looks with this. And again, it's a mixture of some mattes and some shimmers. I think this one's split more evenly. There's like matte, satin, and metallic in here. So I keep wanting to show it in like different like angles so you can kind of see the different colors, like based on how the light hits it. Lastly, the 35W, which I'm assuming stands for warm. I hate to just assume anything, but this has a lot of warm shades, but a lot of kind of like warm, bright shades. And then it has like this kind of cooler area right here. So I really think depending on your preference for what kind of combinations you like in your palettes, there's probably a Morphe palette for you. And again, I would prefer the mixture of shades or of textures, like i.e. mattes and shimmers, versus something that has a lot more of the mattes, because some of the mattes can end up looking very similar on the lid, and you don't need that much variation in matte shades for the crease, unless you're someone that loves doing all matte looks. Then maybe go for something like this, but definitely apply a base. I almost had a lisp there. Did you hear that? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. They're just like on my current rotation for maybe like the past few months. Let me know your favorite kind of all-encompassing eyeshadow palettes. I'm always curious to know like what everyone loves over, because Instagram, the thing with videos in Instagram nowadays, it's just like there are hands down the things that are the most popular because everyone talks about them, but it's not necessarily the best products. Do you know what I'm saying? So I like to think that when I do these videos, I'm really telling you guys what I think is the best, not necessarily what's the most popular or the most hyped kind of thing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you guys really soon.